Welcome once again to Commander by Danon. Today we continue to ignore the upcoming Ninja Turtles set and work on updating old decks of mine. Well, in this case, Cute Stuff's old deck. Leading today's deck is the villain of the multiverse, Nicol Bolas the Ravager. Also, and I know it's annoying to keep hearing this, but statistically if I don't ask you to like and subscribe, the video gets fewer subscribers. Nicol Bolas the Ravager is a 4-mana 4/4 legendary Elder Dragon with flying. Additionally, whenever he enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. We may pay 7 mana and exile Nicol Bolas the Ravager, then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. But we may only activate this as a sorcery. Nicol Bolas the Arisen is a legendary planeswalker with 7 starting loyalty. His +2 ability allows us to draw 2 cards. His -3 ability deals 10 damage to target creature or planeswalker. His -4 ability allows us to put target creature or planeswalker from a graveyard onto the battlefield under our control. Finally, his -12 ability exiles all but the bottom card from target player's library. I've seen Nicol Bolas get stolen, the opponent pays to flip him, only to have him enter the battlefield back under the control of the owner. Very funny. Anyway, when I first envisioned this deck, I thought it would be great to build a Super Friends deck. Only evil. So, a Legion of Doom deck. For those who don't know, the Super Friends archetype centers around planeswalkers. Now, we are running quite a few in this deck, but I also wanted this to be a Nicol Bolas themed deck. And Bolas does 2 things very well. Force our opponents to discard, and steal their stuff. So, this deck will have planeswalkers, theft, and discard. Also, since this isn't the fastest of strategies, we're a bracket 3 deck, so keep that in mind. But before we get to our deck list, a quick word from our sponsor, MythAtom. The folks at MythAtom were kind enough to send me some new toys. If you've ever thought, I need more Bolas in my life, I want my opponents to know that the God Pharaoh is coming for them. But not to hurt them, of course, to free them from this mortal shell. All will be joined to him as his reascension to godhood is complete. Or sacrificed, same thing. Then do I have the dice for you. These dice are made of tiger's eye and are absolutely gorgeous. Be sure to use code DANON for a 10% discount. Link down below. In order to build a functional commander deck, you need lots of different pieces, which is why I try to rely on my handy-dandy checklist. 50 mana sources, usually split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp, 10 pieces of card advantage, 8 to 10 pieces of spot removal, 2 to 3 board wipes, 2 pieces of graveyard hate, and 1 sudden I win card. Oh, one more quick announcement before we get started. I'm streaming on Gaming with Danon as well as Twitch. Sometimes I'm building Commander decks, other times I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV, but you're always welcome to pop in and talk about Commander. Honestly, about half my streams are talking about manga, anime, or Commander. Our land base consists of Command Tower, Exotic Orchard, Polluted Delta, Bloodstained Mire, Scalding Tarn, Flooded Strand, Marsh Flats, Wooded Foothills, Xander's Lounge, Watery Grave, Blood Crypt, Steam Vents, Morphic Pool, Luxury Suite, Training Center, Shipwreck Marsh, Haunted Ridge, Stormcarved Coast, Drowned Catacomb, Dragon Skull Summit, Sulphur Falls, Undercity Sewers, Raucous Theater, Thundering Falls, Bajuka Bog, 4 Islands, 4 Swamps, and 4 Mountains. Not exactly budget, but then again, neither's Cute Stuff. For mana ramp, we're running Wayfarer's Bauble, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Indulgence, Talisman of Creativity, Dimir Signet, Rakdos Signet, Izzet Signet, Mind Stone, Worn Power Stone, Chromatic Lantern, and Gilded Lotus. Mostly mana rocks, as is proper for our color identity. For card advantage, we've got Tiny Bones Trinket Thief, Grim Tutor, Notion Thief, Korvath's Fury, Sensei's Divining Top, Jin Gataxia's Core Augur, Dark Deal, Bolas' Citadel, Windfall, Siphon Mind, and the Locust God. Lots of ways to make sure we have a full hand, as well as some delightful discard effects. Oh, what fun. Our interaction and spot removal package consists of In Bolas' Clutches, Nicol Bolas Planeswalker, Cruel Ultimatum, Hurl Through Hell, Dark Intimations, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, Rapid Hybridization, Narset's Reversal, Negate, The Eldest Reborn, Abrade, Bedevil, and Commit Memory. Wanted to stay thematic while also messing with our opponents. For board wipes, we've got Toxic Deluge and Delayed Blast Fireball. Powerful and simple, just how we like it. The core of our deck consists of Nicol Bolas Dragon God, Nicol Bolas, Nicol Bolas God Pharaoh, the Scarab God, Liliana Waker of the Dead, Liliana of the Veil, Obnixilis the Hate Twisted, Angrath the Flame Chained, Fraying Omnipotence, Unnerve, Turok Dread Cantor, Kroxa Titan of Death's Hunger, Torment of Hailfire, and Croesus the Purger. Lots of ways to mess with our opponent's hands and permanents. But wouldn't it be nice to have more ways to punish them? Which is why we have Underworld Dreams, Megrim, Liliana's Caress, Raider's Wake, Waste Not, God Pharaoh Statue, Painful Quandary, The Haunt of Hightower, and Turgid God of Fright. Evil, I know. Now that we have our deck list, let's compare it to our checklist. 50 mana sources split between 37 lands and 13 pieces of ramp. Right on target. 12 pieces of card advantage, counting our commander. Though we do have more if we count all of our discard effects. More on that later. 13 pieces of interaction. 2 board wipes. 2 pieces of graveyard hate in Commit Memory and Bojuka Bog. 1 sudden I win card in Turgid God of Fright. Have you ever had Turgid on board and then cast Dark Deal? Cute Stuff has. She then was able to steal enough lands from her opponents to cast Jin Gataxia's Core Augur and pass the turn. Her table was pissed, and rightly so. This is an arch-enemy deck. The only thing people hate more than mill is discard, and watching them get angrier and angrier is what makes this deck more fun to play. Okay, so going back to the idea that discard is card advantage, we need to get into math. Having more resources than your opponents, in this case cards, is one way to have an advantage over them. Now, you could have 6 lands in your hand to their 2 pieces of spot removal, but that's an outside chance. We're talking about averages. Generally, it is advantageous to have more cards than your opponents. There are 2 ways to have more cards than your opponents: drawing cards, or forcing them to have fewer cards. Therefore, discard, and I'm not talking 1-for-1 here, I'm talking where you make everyone discard a card, is card advantage. Let's take Liliana of the Veil, for example. In a 1-on-1 game, you uptick her and each of you are down a card. Mathematically, this is an even exchange. Not an advantage, but also not a disadvantage either. But in a game of Commander with 4 players, you're up 2 cards, mathematically speaking. Yes, you're down a card, but so are your 3 opponents. Sorry if I'm not explaining this very well, but I'm sure some of you will understand. Do you have a Nicol Bolas deck? What about a Super Friends deck? Leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Danon. You can have a video made or just ask for help building or tuning a deck list. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Waffles, Jiraiya, Marcus, Brett, Roxy, Alex, Conga, Robert Pye, Kazaris, Patrick, Tiz, Art, Richard, Boomy, Ossera, Justin, Goldenwalker, Captain Hammer, Sleech, Mr. Salty, Daniel, and Zombie. You guys are awesome. I post new Commander Deck videos every weekday, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Commander by Danon.